What's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today is the 16th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side. One of the 4 sides to In the Image Clothing Company, where our slogan is allowing the body to work. Now let's get into this, okay? What does it mean to be a clothing company and allow the body to work? Why is the body not working if the body's not working? Living in this modern man-made 2026 and going forth, yeah, it's a man-made world placed onto God's natural earth. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion to it, bro. It's a universal human design, designed in the image of an unchanging God, in the image of Jesus Christ. We're a clothing company, our 5-word company name here, In the Image Clothing Company. Because clothing is the only thing physically placed on our bodies. The literal wording: hats, gloves, pants, shoes, socks, tops, undergarments, jewelry, anything, okay? A bag over the shoulder. I like to say these things to give context, because the bones of the body, just connecting directly to each other through ligaments, can only do what they can do, and nothing else ever. It's impossible to get the human being to do anything besides just what it does, determined by the shape and length of our own individual bones within this universal human design. Every body who has one, or everyone who has a body, it all works the exact same. But clothing, the literal wording, the way that God clothes the fields with grass, if we place anything onto our bodies to literally clothe them with that don't work for our bodies, the only way our bodies work, with muscles only pulling, opposing muscles pulling from the neutral position that is there in the entire human being and every aspect of any physical motion it has, being just this mechanical machine placed onto this rock in space we call Earth, abiding by universal laws like gravity and just physics in any way you want to discuss it. Well, anyway, the clothing will damage our bodies if it's imbalanced. Oversized clothing, when we don't have joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts. Imbalances of any kind, though. Pockets, zippers, buttons, seams that are rotating. Robots stitch our clothing. In modern 2026 and going forth, things like this are imbalances that are fairly universally shipped across the entire earth that couldn't have possibly happened in the past, until we had the technology for these things to happen. Collar seams. In the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification. You know, we give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, okay, which has been done to this top, both of these things. The collar seam, the rotating seams. I wear tops like this intentionally to show the visuals of what's going on, because damage to the body. Ropes, shoelaces, drawstrings, anything tied on or around the body, when you can tie one side over the other and twist the entire human being down to the tips of the toes, out to the tips of the fingers, and up to the tip of the head. There's a center line to the body, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull. The vertical pull to gravity comes down and meshes with the horizontal surface to the planet Earth. And this is a 90-degree angle, a right angle, a perpendicular angle. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, the jaw of the human being are all in the center of the body. Even opposing musculature, right and left, or left and right, connects into the center line of the human being. It's just mathematical, measurable degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations. Determined by the shape and length of our bones, there's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion to it. It could matter. Myself included, you know, if I had one on it. So, yeah. Here we are, the 16th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. Spoken by me, Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, is this discussion, which the video's title here is The Shoulders Connect to the Entire Spine. And let's talk about this, because they do. Okay, but the thing is, imbalances in the only thing physically placed directly on our physical bodies can alter our bodies more than anything else in our lives possibly could. And not only that, but everything we do in our lives, we're doing it in and through our clothing. The literal wording of clothing our physical being, which is a human, with anything at all. So, at very baseline, clothing needs to at least stay centered, because there's a center line to Earth's gravity and a center line to the human being. The spine is one of those things in the center of the body which the shoulders connect to the entirety of the spine from bottom to top. Okay, and we're going to discuss that in this video, but it's the 16th of July, 2026. In the Image Clothing Company's main side, the shoulders connect to the entire spine. Chronic patterning will get built up in the body if clothing's not fitting on it properly. So yeah, with clothing staying centered, it needs to fit correct. And, you know, everybody who has one, and we're talking about man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, you're just a human being. There's only one way the body works. It's mathematics. You can measure it. Don't believe me. Right? We've got to start with our feet flat on the ground. The neutral to the foot's dorsiflexion or plantar flexion, lifting up with the toes or pointing them down. Zero drop, the term in any brand of shoe. So here's some context. A lot of things are damaging our bodies that we have no idea are if we don't. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know as human beings. We're here to learn and grow. And this is where In the Image Clothing Company comes in the case of the human being's anatomy, which we discussed thoroughly and in great depth, where there's no possible dispute to the mathematical functioning of this machine we have. But also free modifications in clothing. We modify the ways we approach our lives in this modern man-made world that doesn't really work for our bodies. Things so flat when our hands are round, different length four fingers wrapping evenly around a different length opposable thumb with an entirely different function. Different length, 5 toes we roll evenly off the ends of to share the weight in this universal human design. But anyway, so staying centered, we talked about that. Fitting correct, and we discussed where that is clearly under In the Image Clothing Company here. Our main side specifically as one of our fourths to us. Allowing the body to work is our slogan. But then also being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials is what clothing has to be, because matter cannot be created or destroyed. And so we can make things from things that already exist, take natural things and make them unnatural things as human beings, but they always decompose back to natural. And also our bodies literally are only what we have eaten. Plants that grow from the earth or animals that eat plants that grow from the earth, it becomes the human being until we die and the body decomposes back into the planet Earth. It's always been the same stuff. It just kind of looks different. Truth is truth. It's not my choice. God, Jesus Christ, designed our bodies in his image, man. So here you go. The 16th of July, 2026, In the Image Clothing Company's main side here. The shoulders connect to the entire body. But specifically, the shoulders connect to the entire spine is what I mean. The body's all connected. It's a kinetic chain. A bone connects to a bone, connecting to a bone, connecting to a bone, connecting to a bone, connecting to a bone, 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 to more bone, and there's a lot of bones in the body. 206. We've got 2 feet evenly opposing the center line of the human being, gripping arches inward to keep us vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. There's no possible opinion to how the human being works. It's mathematics. Okay, so the shoulders connect to the entire spine. We talked very clearly about some things under In the Image Clothing Company. You know, the shoulders only could ever possibly work behind the head. It's where they connect. Watch my head move as my shoulders do as well. And no restriction when my shoulders are behind my head. The shoulders could only ever possibly work behind the head because they connect to the very base of the rear of the skull and to the spine behind the head. And they couldn't do anything else. All muscles in the body do is pull. So we've got muscles connecting to bones through tendons. Muscles pull to close a hinge joint like the elbow. But there's always opposing muscles that pull. So we extend the hinge joint of the elbow by pulling, just as we close it by pulling. You know, muscles only pull. So all muscles can do is take where they connect to bones on either end and just pull those 2 points directly in line. Then they relax. Then they pull directly in line. Then they relax. So we've got opposing muscles to the neutral of everything in the entire body pulling on either side to stabilize. But the thing is, with the shoulders connecting to the entire spine, this video's title on the 16th of July 2026 under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, the shoulders connect to the entire spine. Well, they do. So really the understanding is, and I can explain the anatomy and at least some of the muscles connecting the shoulders to the spine from top to bottom, the very base of the rear of the skull, at the very top of the spine, to the very top of the pelvis, at the very bottom of the spine, the lowest third of the spine, the lumbar spine, the mid third of the spine, the thoracic spine, and the upper third of the spine, the cervical spine, that's just the neck. I could discuss all of this anatomy, and we'll talk about it as much as we do in this video, but the big focus is everything we do in our lives, the shoulders come from this plane of motion, this just connecting to the spine. These big bones on the upper back, the shoulder blades or the scapulas, okay, they have an immense amount of motion if they're not altered. By what, though? Well, most directly, the only thing physically placed onto them, the literal word of clothing, the body with anything, okay? In The Image Clothing Company, today's the 16th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side titled, The Shoulders Connect to the Entire Spine. So these bones of the upper back, the bones of the shoulders, one of the three bones of the shoulder blades or the scapulas, those big bones on our upper back, they connect to the spine. But you know what else connects to the spine? The ribs. So we've got these ribs connecting in the sternum in the front of the body, and the sternum's only about this long, meaning about half the length of the entire spine, give or take, is the length of the sternum, this bone in the front of the body the ribs connect into. And then the ribs connect around both sides of the body, both the left and right, into the spine in the rear, and the rib cage expands and contracts. Same for the airplane pilot. To say that it's just hard to battle through what I have to do to get these videos out is an understatement. It's extraordinarily hard. So much context that I could talk about one day. Maybe we'll explain a lot of the things I've dealt with just filming these permanent date-marked documentations under any of the four sides of In The Image Clothing Company that it is, as the founder and leader for life, me, Evan Strong. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. What it is the 16th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side of In The Image Clothing Company titled, The Shoulders Connect to the Entire Spine. And so the ribs wrap around the body, and they expand and contract all the way around. With the lungs inside expanding and contracting, air breathing in and out, oxygen coming in, being exchanged for carbon dioxide through the lungs and the capillaries in them, the little blood vessels that does the breathing for the body. The ribs come around and connect into the spine, but the shoulders connect behind the ribs. I mean, the shoulders could only ever possibly work behind the body, behind the head. But the shoulder blades, one of the three bones of the shoulder, those big bones on our upper back, the scapulas, they sit behind the rib cage bones entirely. So all this motion in the scapulas or the shoulder blades, it's only able to happen where they physically sit. I couldn't make it up. The level of surrounding sounds. All right. So the shoulders could only ever possibly work where the bones cannot hit into another bone. We can't have these big bones on our upper backs, the shoulder blades, hitting into the rib bones. So the shoulders can't come any farther forward than behind the rib cage, unless they wrap around the outsides of the rib cage, which they can do, like this. But there's always a neutral to the entire body. For the shoulders, front or back, up or down, internal or external rotation. But the pendulum of the hand hangs vertically with Earth's vertical gravity pull from the other end of the shoulder, straight down. But this is just where the muscles connect the shoulder to the body, and that's behind the body. Behind the head, behind the ribs. Nowhere else. Like on the back to the spine, it's behind the entire body. But not only this, the shoulders connect to the entire spine, which happens to be the literal wording of this video's title on the 16th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. The shoulders connect to the cervical spine, or the spine of the neck, above the shoulder blades. They connect to the spine right between the shoulder blades, that middle or thoracic spine. And then they connect down a little bit below that, still on the middle spine, with those lower trapezius muscles. Okay, right below the shoulder blades, kind of like between and below. And then the shoulders, coming from the upper arm bone, which is one of the 3 bones of the shoulder, just like the scapula or shoulder blade is one of the 3 bones of the shoulder. But from this bone, called the humerus, the upper arm bone, close to the very top of it, where it becomes the shoulder, there's a muscle called the latissimus dorsi, or latissimus dorsi, that comes down and connects to the lumbar spine, or the lowest third of the back, and then down to the pelvis. So the shoulders connect clear from the uppermost top part of the spine and the base of the skull, all the way down to the bottom, most lower part of the spine and the top of the pelvis. The shoulders connect to the entire spine. This video's title, on the 16th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. So the thing is, when we go through life, the shoulders just are actually behind us. They're behind the ribs, just physically, literally, the bones of the shoulders, the scapulas, or the shoulder blades, are sitting behind the rib cage. It's back there. But also behind the head. And even the rear of the upper arm is connected clear back to the spine in the center of the body, at the very lowest part of the spine, the lumbar spine. So the entirety of the shoulders work behind the body. Look at this visual. My shoulders come out from behind my spine, from behind my head, because the ribs connect directly into the sides of the spine, but the muscles of the shoulder connect behind the ribs. The shoulders only ever work behind the body. And we talk about this often under In The Image Clothing Company, as we're doing here on the 16th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, with this video's title being, The Shoulders Connect to the Entire Spine. Well, the spine's the very rear of the body. Really, it is. And it's the only vertical support that is bone above the hips. These feet opposing the center line of the human being evenly, gripping arches inward to keep us vertical at our foundation, travel up 2 legs till we get to the hips. Then at the hips we come into the center of the body, and above the hips the spine's the only vertical support of bone, and it's in the very direct center of the human being, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull that comes down and meshes with the horizontal surface of the planet Earth, this 90-degree perpendicular right angle. So what I'm saying is the shoulders are supporting the entire body because they're connected to the entire vertical support of the body that's bone, from the hips up to the base of the skull, the spine, in the direct center of the body with Earth's vertical gravity pull meshing, right? So It's just that, you know, we have to have the shoulders residing in their only position they ever could possibly have, just their neutral, from up or down or front or back or internal or external rotation, and all the functioning the shoulders have. This video's title, the 16th of July 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, the shoulders connect to the entire spine. So they're always behind the body. Even if you're sitting down, your shoulders are still behind your body, because that's where gravity pulls the pendulum of the hand down from the shoulder. Not right in line with the body, certainly not wrapping all the way around in front of the body, and not excessively back behind the body either. But the shoulders connect to the entire spine, and the entire spine is the very rear part of the body. The only thing behind the spine farther are the shoulders. The shoulder blades. Here's a lawnmower or something, some sound surrounding us here when I'm trying to document permanent truth. It's a public place. I couldn't even be upset about it, rightfully. Although, it is what it is. There's a lot to it. Anyway, maybe that's all we need to say, and probably not. I mean, I could talk about this for probably a couple hours. But I'm doing what I can. I walked around for about 2 hours before this, just trying to figure out a location I can do this in outside that's not excessively noisy. And there's an airplane right as I'm saying that. Alright, that's all I'm going to say. Context will come more than that, but there's your documentation as of the 16th of July, 2026. I'm not giving up, because if I were to have given up, I wouldn't be out here right now. When it was like 3 hours ago, I started to try to film this video. Think what you want, but maybe don't. I mean it. Thank you. Check out the other 3 sides of In The Image Clothing Company if you'd like to. Look, I've clicked this. I don't know how I can prove that other than like poking at it, and maybe you don't believe that I'm actually trying to stop it. But the device overheats. It's hot. I mean, physically to the touch, it's almost too hot to even touch right there on the glass of this device I'm using. It's Utah, state of Utah, the United States of America, where we're based here as In The Image Clothing Company, specifically St. George, Utah, which is not where I'm at currently right this moment. But it's so hot for the device. It's so loud in this town specific. This town is absurd when it comes to just surrounding noises like this. And I like to do everything that I can outside, being as we are, blunt, bold, raw, and real in The Image Clothing Company. That's how we do it, you know, just meaning authentic. But it's hard, man, because like, if I want to make a video outside, we've got a flight school just a few miles from here. We've got the lawnmowers that mow the lawn like multiple times a day, as far as I can tell. I'm out here pretty much every single day trying to do something like this as of this time period, you know. Filming permanent documentations under In The Image Clothing Company to help everybody who has one and everyone who has a body, for every human being, every generation to ever be. It's just what it is. It's always the same exact information being designed in the image of an unchangeable God, Jesus Christ. And people just don't know what they don't know, because our bodies are in deep chronic patterning, and it can most directly, and it certainly will most directly, come from the thing that's physically placed onto our physical bodies, which is clothing, you know, just the literal wording. And so I'm just trying to document this information. And, you know, you've got the lawnmowers, you've got the airplanes, you've got just random people walking through the video, and I have no kind of say over public places, I understand, but I do all that I can, you know, and I'm praying through it, and I'm just being persistent. And we are coming up on our 2-year anniversary, bro, of In The Image Clothing Company. And it just is what it is. And this kid's down in the sticks. So was I. But anyway. People. People. I just like it outside. I like it authentic. I could film these videos inside and I could have, you know, all the same information be delivered, but it's just not as, like, real seeming to me. There's no inside until you make it as a human being. There's always outside, right? Like, the goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. What's ironic about it is the surrounding sounds that we complain about, except for the wind noise, which is just kind of hard with the microphone, you know. But all the rest of these surrounding sounds like this, they're just unnatural man-made sounds. That's why St. George, Utah is where we're based, bro. One of the big reasons. The Mojave Desert down there, so much quieter. You're out in basically the middle of nowhere. You just drop a town in the middle of the desert. So, just to let you know. The point is, the shoulders connect to the entire spine, and so never let your shoulders come wrapping around your body. You're just in an imbalance, you know. Your feet arches will collapse. The feet grip arches in and back because we've got different length 5 toes, and that's just the angle they pull on. Like I was saying, muscles just connect to endpoints at bones through their insertions called tendons, and they just pull those locations directly in line. You can have 3 or potentially maybe even more insertions to bone from a muscle, but no matter how many you have, it just pulls those endpoints together. And the shoulders, oh, well, here, this hasn't stopped. Oh, my point was, I tried to stop it, but this is what I've had to deal with too with the heat of Utah. I love the heat. I'm not complaining about the heat, but it causes problems like this. This is a true problem in ways, certainly. I clicked the stop button on the, you know, the record here on this device I'm using to film these videos, but because the device is so hot, it takes like 10, 15 plus minutes after I click stop for it to actually stop. And then a lot of the time, the last part of the video, the audio is all cut out and it's not even there at all, you know? So, like right now, I mean, I intended on this video being done. I clicked the stop button, but I'm just waiting it out. And as I am, I'm just discussing more of this stuff. But one thing that's good to say is, sure, the shoulders connect to the center of the body in the front as well at the sternum. But that's why I was talking about the length of the sternum, or the height of it, you know? See the wind noise, bro? The sternum's only, I'm gonna start cussing this wind out, so I couldn't make it up, bro. I got a t-shirt here I'm using to wrap around the device to try to drown out the surrounding wind noise. Lawnmower. Airplane, as I'm saying it, I'm not even joking. It's like a war zone, bro. Just trying to get this stuff documented. This is a permanent, eternal, you could call it a company, sure. You could call it a community. You could call it just documentations. You could call it a business. You could call it the rest of Evan Strong's life, at least. Look. Where's it at? You might be able to hear it. Anyway, there's an airplane. It's right there somewhere. Yep. Anyway, my point is, the shoulders, sure, they connect to the front of the body as well at the sternum, but there's 2 little pectoral muscles. That's it. An upper pectoral muscle and a lower pectoral muscle. Pectoralis minor and major. Okay, yikes. That's it. You know, on the back, you've got upper, middle, lower trapezius muscles, rhomboids, latissimus dorsi, and whatever else you do have, smaller muscles, and things that I may not even know are there yet with my current understanding of the anatomy of the human body as the founder and leader for life of the Image Clothing Company. But it's spanning the entire spine. The spine on the rear of the body is like twice, give or take at least, the length of the sternum on the front of the body. And also, just Earth's gravity pulls the hand down from the shoulder. The shoulders sit behind the head and behind the rib cage. And that's where all the motion comes from. Anyway, you know, so, and I could discuss this deeper. We've talked about some of these things, you know, quite thoroughly up until today's date, the 16th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site so far, documented and date marked under what I call a gift of video. But shoulder seams just need to sit behind the peak of your shoulders. You know, we discussed where clothing sits very clearly because gravity has the same effect on our clothing that it has on our bodies, and because, you know, like I said, we're just working in and through and potentially trying to work around imbalances in the literal word of clothing through our entire lives, waking and sleeping life, anytime you ever physically clothe your body with anything at all. So yeah, the top seams of the shoulders sit right behind the peak of the shoulders evenly. This doesn't happen with rotating seams in clothing. stitched by robots is why that happens, really, you know, in modern 2026 and going forth. And with collar seams on the collars of a top, the collar will be unbalanced. But we've got this even opposing musculature, okay, into the jaw from the shoulder. Oh, there you go, okay. But also just into the spine, you know, going through the collars of our tops, those upper trapezius muscles, the uppermost muscles of the shoulders that connect the shoulders to the spine, okay. It goes, they go through the collars of our tops evenly on the left and right side of our bodies, and it might look like I'm carrying a baby, like I'm swaddling something in this. I've got this device in this t-shirt to shield the wind, and as people are passing me, it's like I'm holding this like baby. Anyway, you know, keeping collars centered, the importance of snug collars. In the Image Clothing Company. Check out the other 3 sides of In the Image Clothing Company if you'd like to. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, In the Image Clothing Company Podcast with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 210 of In the Image Clothing Company Podcast as of today's date, the 16th of July, 2026. Just deep insights on life, though. Check it out if you'd like to. It applies to everybody. Literal wording, even if you're not religious. Authenticity, brother. That's the goal. The goal is natural. In the Image Clothing Company music, another one of our fourths. Check it out. Rhythm and poetry, lyricism, spoken word, singing, guitar playing, music geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages In the Image Clothing Company, our 5-word company name, because we are designed in the image of God. This is why I like to do it outside. I like to just be real and loud if I'm going to be loud, just authentically, and just be able to be weird and have a good time and not just try to hide in some studio. I just prefer it, being outside. Always. Anyway, that's why I love St. George, Utah. All right, thank you. Goodbye. Oh, but see, I was going to try to stop it, but I already tried to stop it. All right. Well, when it stops, it stops. I might cut it from where it actually stops, because that's all I really need in this video is up until that point right there. But I'm gonna drink some orange juice as I wait. But here you go. I mean, this is the truth of it. This is what I'm saying when I'm doing all I can to just build credibility, build permanence of this eternal company, In the Image Clothing Company. It's stuff like this where, I mean, this is all I can do right now. This is what I have to film these videos with. You know, this camera, the microphone it has, this location's just where I'm at right now. And, you know, just the depth of understanding that I have at the time. I deliver, I do what I can do, I get through what I can get through. Yeah, man, I mean, you can try to make it something it isn't, or you can just be who you are. That's why I make it so clear, blunt, bold, raw, and real, In the Image Clothing Company. It's not some proclamation to try to be something. It's don't try, because that's what life is. It's blunt, bold, raw, and real. It smacks you in the face with lawnmower noise and airplanes and wind noise and random stuff, bro. Anyway, thank you.